Tony on the line. You there?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Pretty well.
We're all good.
When you're trying to understand things, you have to be like a little child before you accept Christ in your life. When you come to Him as a child,
yeah.
and He gives you His Spirit.
Wouldn't it be better, though? Why not look to science, for instance, to say, let's find out what the best decisions here are?
Okay,
consequences.
I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, the only thing I could tell you is I could tell you from a personal standpoint of religion and all the things that you think the Bible and all this other stuff, those are God's words for a reason. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a deeper level than science and logic and everything else. When I came and I gave my life to Christ, it's a relationship. It's a relationship that you get, you are adopted into the family, that He died for your sins, He was buried, and on the third day He rose from the dead, and that He's giving you that same resurrection spirit that's alive in you, and you're adopted into the family. And it's a relationship. Right. And once you have that relationship, He reveals Himself in truth to you, where you could understand the things of God, where they enlighten you, where you've never known it before. It's like being on the outside of things, trying to look in and not understanding. You know, it's like shutting the door and you're on one side, and on the other side there's light. Yeah,
I know where you're
door. Yeah, you walk into the light, and you could understand.
Right, Tony. Let me just bounce something off you really quickly. You are aware that there are a number of other religions practiced in the world. In fact, there are, I think, something like 2,000 active religions practiced in the world, right? And in every single one of these, you can find people to make the same sorts of testimonials that you're making, right? I mean, you can find people who are Hindu, Zoroastrian, Baha'i, and who don't follow the Christian faith as you do, and they'll make exactly the same sorts of statements about how the fulfillment that they get from their beliefs that you're making. Okay, now does this tell me? Now you have to understand that you're right. Those of us on the outside looking in, does this tell us anything about the truth of that belief, or does it just tell us that this is a belief that has a very strong emotional appeal for the people who adopt it? I mean, we don't deny that people who adopt a particular faith, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Shintoism, whatever faith they adopt, we don't deny that they get a great deal of personal fulfillment from holding that belief. But does that person's individual level of fulfillment present us with anything in the way of good hard evidence for that belief? It really doesn't. All that it proves to us is that here's a person that we're talking to, like yourself, who has received a great deal of fulfillment from the belief system, but it doesn't tell us anything about the truth or the falsehood of whether or not the claims of that belief system are verifiable.
Okay. First of all, the one thing is that the relationship with Jesus as being a Christian, okay?
Yeah. No,
what separates that from any other religion is that He was the Son of God, and He lived a perfect life, and He was the only one without sin that died for humanity. And the only way to get into the kingdom is through the cross of Jesus.
Okay, and like I said,
second of all, I'm just responding to the way that you talked and what you said, and I'm just trying to get a fair.
Okay, well, no, go ahead and do your whole and finish,
and then,
please.
And the difference is that if somebody gives you a cup of water and you're on a dry and hot desert island, you have two choices. You could taste to see if it satisfies, or you could say, I don't want it. And you see, once you taste that Jesus is real and He's alive and He reveals Himself to you and He fulfills every single thing in your heart and you're complete, you don't have to taste anything else. And you know what? Throughout the time
you're
of
good.
Life,
you ought to try a ministry
career. Throughout the time of life, in life, you'll go through life trying to fill yourself with the void in your heart, with everything that this world has got to offer you, and it's never enough. You want more, 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 and more. And the only thing that will ever satisfy you is Christ.
Let's go and get back to
I'm so surprised listening to this guy.
Taste it, you'll never believe it.
Let's go back to the discussion.
Let's stop. Okay. Right. You have to understand, here's how atheists are. Okay, we're just folks trying to live our lives and have a good time, and religion is this thing that people keep putting in our way, okay, to say, no, without this, your life is desolate and meaningless. And we're like, well, no, we're doing just fine. They're like, no, you know, this presumption that life is an empty void and what have you. Well, no, I mean, there is this big, wonderful world out there. We get to live in it for a certain number of years. You know, every day is precious and you make the most of it. And I think that is, but when you listen to Christian testimonials, you do get a recurring pattern that they form, which is, here's an individual whose outlook on life was one of utter misery and woe, okay, but then they have found this relationship with Jesus, and now everything's okay. Yeah. You know, it's like, my life sucked, but now it doesn't. Yeah. You know, and if it's solely this whole thing of, my life is a desert island and I'm in a void, and so I need something to get out of the void. Well, but if your life isn't like that in the first place.
Yeah. And again, going back to what you were saying before, it doesn't say anything about the truth of Christianity, for instance, when, again, you've got Muslims and other people out there saying pretty much the exact same thing. Yeah. I was an empty, dull shell of a person until Allah came into my life, and now I have meaning and purpose.
Now, a lot of these religious beliefs, not just Christianity, but a lot of other ones, sort of have a vested interest in people being really miserable. Because then that's the easiest way to bring them in and say, well, here's the thing that you need in your life to not feel that way anymore. Yeah. But it's an emotional appeal. And again, all that it says to us is, sure, people who absorb these beliefs and who think they have a lot of misery and meaninglessness in their lives, who adopt these beliefs, you know, do they get a little meaning from the beliefs they adopt? Well, sure they do. That's never in dispute. But what's in dispute is...
Hello?
Yeah.
Am I still on? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Well, I was pretty much done answering.
I appreciate your output, and I could understand where you're coming from, being on the other side of where I'm at. Yeah. The only thing that I got to say to you is that, you know, you've got somebody that created you, and
I do have two people who created me.
Yeah. He's in heaven, okay, and he brought you into this world, and he's brought you into this world to find the meaning of what your life is about. And that's why he sent his son Jesus here. Right. There is going to come a time that he has control of our lives, that we will not be here anymore. And you don't control your own fate. You don't control your heartbeat. He controls every step of your life. And he brought you in. He could take you out anytime he wants. No, I'm just saying, he can take me out anytime.
Eternal granddaddy's got the shotgun on the shelf, though.
The time will come when all of us will die in this world.
Yeah.
And we will face the one that died for us and paid the price to us. And either, you know, we're going to be in or we're going to be on the outside.
I said, we know you believe that.
Yeah, we've heard this
the individuals
before.
Of what our passion, what our heart and life wants.
Okay. Thanks for the reminder.
We got to move on, but keep watching, okay?
Thanks for calling.
All right. Again, we know you believe that, Tony. Okay. But again, just repeating what you believe to us and giving emotional appeals don't equal evidence.
When it comes to bullshit, big time, major league bullshit, you have to stand in awe of the all-time champion of false promises and exaggerated claims, religion. No contest. No contest.